Greetings, Remy.
Hey,
Uh,
Yuri.
Nice to greet you in this lovely winter day. What do you think?
We had our first winter day in the Netherlands as well. So some cities had some snow last night. Unfortunately, the city I live in didn't have any. So let's wait for a couple of days and we can start making a snowman.
Another option you can join here. In lieu, we have really fairy tale,
Yeah.
or maybe some other time.
I'll discuss it with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Remy, really nice to see you today, and especially not in usual our working mode, but here when we can simply talk about stuff. And actually, we have a really fascinating topic today for us, how Outstaff can accelerate product development for Salesforce partners. And I believe you have a lot of experience, and we can share something with uh, our people and our listeners. So, first things first, Remy, I was wondering uh, originally where were you when Growtivity was founded?
I think it was around 2014. And back then, I was still working as a consultant for a Nijmegen based software company called GX. And we were specialized in CMS systems. We made a lot of websites for well known Dutch and international brands. And we also had a very impressive tool for digital marketing called Blueconic, and the majority of my work was focused on implementing Blueconic at customers.
Cool. Whoa, I didn't know that you had this kind of experience. Good to
Yeah,
know.
I do.
And Remy, I was wondering if you are familiar with the story how Growtivity and Redtag met, how they
Well,
started.
Growtivity and Redtag were already working together when I joined Growtivity, so actually I don't know. So maybe you can tell me something about it.
Um, I wasn't there personally as well, but I heard a lot of stories, especially when Growtivity was joining us here in Lille on our small parties after hard working days. So yeah, would be happy to tell you. As far as I know, original touch happened around 2015, and Gutierrez back then was uh, very close with the next few.
Mhm.
They are part, and they have different work, kinds of work, and usually they had similar different season consultant. And for some items, of course, there was some development needed. So they were looking for some partners. And at the moment, we were working with the next few, and they decided that it's worth a try. It appeared that Nazar was actually in the Netherlands with some business trip. So they, together with Heron, just met in Amsterdam to grab some coffee, and slowly and started. I'm not sure when actual work has started, but we were in close touch since then. And as far as I heard, starting 2017, there were already some stable working items that Growtivity shared with Redtag. And usually on that time, um, Growtivity took full consultant part, and we were helping with different pure development. Maybe you know that Kloppenburg stuff was also already improved by our tech colleagues. So yeah, it's already a long story, I would say.
When did you join?
In 2019,
Ah, okay. So not really long before I started.
yes,
Nice.
and Remy, and I was wondering, do you remember the first day of uh, our cooperation? What actually were your fears in cooperation with team from Ukraine, and maybe some, some if culturally and mentally it fitted you or not?
Yeah, obviously, I don't remember the first days of cooperation between Redtag and Growtivity, but of course, I do remember the first day of days that I joined Growtivity, and yeah, somewhere in my first couple of weeks after my onboarding days, I had a first meeting with the Redtag team. You were already part of it. My biggest fear when I heard that we outsourced our development was that Redtag as a team would simply agree on every proposal that I would do or a colleague would do. And it's basically because my experience from the past that we used external resources. And even if you would have a typo in a user story, for instance, then the typo would be in the final solution as well. And we had no feedback whatsoever on what we proposed. It was just yeah, doing as the customer said, and yeah, that was really helpful because yeah, often developers know a lot of stuff as well, and they should feel the freedom to speak out. And yeah, luckily my fear was really unnecessary because yeah, I explained this story on my first meeting with you as well, if I remember it correctly. And yeah, you all took it really well, and yeah, you exactly worked as we would like to see it. So it was really nice to see. Yeah.
Nice. Actually, I also remember a bit blurry, but still remember our that meeting. And I was okay. Should I say that I do not agree with this kind of stuff or not? Well, I guess I need to. And I'm happy that everything was started exactly as you would hope it would be.
Yeah.
Remy, and may I ask you? You mentioned that you had experience with Outstaff, and what countries you were working with?
Yeah, mostly in India. So back in the days when I worked for GX in Nijmegen, we also had Indian resources, but I wasn't part of that team, so I only knew about it and didn't work closely with them. But later on, I had some Indian resources, but also resources from Belarus, and of
Ah,
course external resources, but based in the Netherlands. Yeah.
mhm. I wonder if you also felt some differences between working like with Belarus and India and Ukrainian guys.
Um,
Well, first one you mentioned that proactively be involved in user stories, right?
Yeah, that's one of the big advantages of working with Redtag. I don't know if this goes for all Ukrainian companies, of course, but yeah, Redtag as a company or you within Redtag, yeah, really work closely with us and yeah, take actively part of discussions regarding functionalities that we want to introduce or more specific user stories, how we should technically solve it. So that's nice. But also a real advantage is that the more profound knowledge and usage of English is a benefit. Yeah, as said, I worked with some Indian companies, and sometimes I had a hard time understanding what they meant, especially if we did it over the phone or in a video call. So I don't know if this goes for all Ukrainian companies, but one of the benefits of working with Redtag is that they have really profound knowledge of English, something that was lacking a bit more when I used to work for Indian companies, which is really good for the communication, of course, but also for the quality of our user stories and in the end, the quality of our final solutions, because nothing is lost in translation.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Actually, communication is the crucial one if you work with our stuff. You're
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Thank you, Remy. And since you're already here together, we are all here together for a couple of years. Could you please tell a bit more about your actual career growth and Growtivity for these years?
Yeah, so in September 2020, I started in a sort of combined function, partly as an implementation consultant, but also I was asked to become sort of a team lead for the development team. because I had knowledge of using Salesforce packages, using a license model for a product that you would sell based on another platform. And at the beginning, I think it was basically split uh, half. So 50% of my time was dedicated to projects, and 50% was dedicated to working on our own product together with the Redtag team. And over the years, my work for customers became a bit less, and I started doing more for the development team, but also started doing more for operations at Growtivity itself. So the Dutch consultants, the project management. And right now I am responsible for all the operations at Growtivity, and because we're a small team, I'm also still responsible for the development team. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big piece of responsibility, actually.
yeah, but it's really fun to do. So
Agree. Remy, and if we are talking about Growtivity in general and their focus, as we know, considerable attention is actually to development of products, right? Could you please tell a bit more about this product?
yeah, so basically, our focus is to deliver high-end products to the Dutch care industry. I say Dutch, but we have our first Belgium customer as well, started last February. And we mainly focus on all sorts of processes that center around care clients during intakes, placements, waiting lists, but also finding a really good match between a person who's looking for a house to live, for instance, in a care home, and a person who comes with a lot of characteristics that can be hard characteristics that someone might need a shower chair or a lowered kitchen because he or she is in a wheelchair, but also soft characteristics regarding a person's character or likes and dislikes. And we developed, together with Redtag, of course, a really powerful tool to match a person with, in this case, a care home. And it is something that's really important for the customers that we have, that they have a center tool where they can easily build a dossier around a customer or a client, and also have functionalities within this dossier to come to hopefully a placement, but also to have a up-to-date waiting list registry where you can make sure that next to that everything's up to date, that you can inform clients, that you can ask them to do stuff in preparation of a possible placement, things like that.
Hmm, sounds cool. So basically, these pieces of functionality can be used for administrative parts, right, of the care organizations, but also they can be sometimes exposed to the actual patients for this or that.
Yeah, so it's built around different kinds of users. So you have the caregivers who can easily look up a client. You have the people who are responsible for getting someone in a home, for instance. There can be someone from the cleaning department, or someone a concierge who needs to do some renovation in the building, but also the client itself. We have a so-called community where a client can log into, even if he or she is not a client yet, but waiting for a place or during the intake process. And we can not only inform the client, but also actively assign tasks, for instance, to a client to prepare for maybe an intake meeting, that they can fill out a form, or that they get some tips and tricks what they need to do during this intake interview, or what they need to bring. So based on different people around the client, we can deliver different um, information and um,
Uh-huh. I see. And does it, from technical perspective, to think about, does it involve some kind of integrations, for example?
yes, we had some requests from actual customers who want to integrate with their electronic health record system, for instance. So we thought about it a lot. But one thing we didn't want to do is build different kinds of integrations from Salesforce, the platform that we use to build our product on, to EHR system one, EHR system two, maybe a system where you can do your location management. So we are now partnering with another company, Centilio, and they have a middleware solution that can connect all the dots from different systems. And there's one line between our product and Centilio. So we only needed to build this integration once, but it can serve a lot of purposes for our customers, because we don't say we have an integration with EHR one, but not with EHR system two. No, we have an integration with this middleware solution out of the box, and you can connect it to any system that you are using if they have an open API, of course. If the system is closed, then it's still a challenge to connect those dots. Yeah.
Hmm. Cool. All right. And to sum up, basically, what's, let's say, the main customer profile for this?
Yeah, we focus mainly on long-term care. So that can be housing solutions, long-term daycare, for instance, mental care, foster care. Yeah, but our focus is care, and we have some customers who are cure. So it's not that our solution is not fit to be used in an environment that's entitled as cure, but yeah, mainly our focus area is long-term care.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand. And from one side, it's good to be more dedicated. From another side, the solution itself is really generic built. And I remember our case when we were helping refugees. Uh, so that's a good example
Yeah,
of
yeah,
uh, implementation.
that's one of the best examples of how we can use matching as well, where we started from a perspective from a client looking for a house to live. We now had the opportunity to send this around Ukrainian fugitives. So can we? We need to read this sentence. Fugitives,
Yeah, I thought that just refugees.
refugees. Yeah. Okay. Um, Yeah, so that's a really powerful example of how we can use our matching solution as well. Where we started with using it for my example from before, a client who was looking for a house to live. We now had the opportunity to use it for Ukrainian refugees who fled Ukraine after the start of the war and were looking for a bed. And that also gave us a lot of new insights of things we can build around our matching solution that would be beneficial for care customers as well. So it's really cool to do.
Yeah, good one. Agree. And Remy, may I ask you, based on your whole experience and experience right now, what can we define as the biggest challenges in product development, and how can we overcome them?
Yeah, I think what more companies struggle with, um, we need to exactly understand the needs of our customers. So that's always a big challenge, because especially if you're building something new and it wasn't explicitly requested by a customer, we need to really think about the use cases. We need to validate if this is really what customers want, in order to not build something that is only 90% right. And if something is 90% right, the chance is that they won't be using it at all. So that would be a waste of development, of course. So I think that's a big challenge, to always do the correct checks with the stakeholders. Is this exactly what you might need in the future, or what you already need but didn't know yet that we are building this? And if we then know what a customer wants, how do you get it in the system as user friendly as possible, especially with complicated tooling like matching? You want to give the customer a lot of possibilities in the matching algorithm, and you want to have a customer be able to tweak settings. So yeah, for different use cases, you can find the best match. And especially in care, it's not as easy as buying a laptop where you can simply say it should be a 15-inch laptop with a certain graphic card. No, it's about people, and people also have characteristics that aren't as hard as laptop specs. So we need to think about that, and also make it user friendly. That if we want to give them these opportunities, it should be intuitive. If we say if we have to write a manual how to perform a simple match, then people won't be using it as well. So we want to have a really advanced tool, but we want to make it feel like it's really really simple. And we sometimes a challenge sounds negative, but it's really positive challenge as well, because it makes you really think about we are delivering something, but how do we make sure that it's actually being used instead of a really full, really powerful tool that lies on the shelf and collects dust.
Now I got your point about the focus, that it's really 10 times easier to, if you have a focus, so you have stakeholders, and it's way more easier to validate with them, even your ideas, not necessarily MVP already.
Yeah, and sometimes different areas of the care market sound similar, but sometimes it's just as simple as the words they use in their day-to-day operations. For instance, if you work in a hospital, you talk about patients, but if you work in a care home, you talk about clients. Now, isn't that really really a lot used in our tooling? But if that was being used a lot, you would have your first challenge that you would need all translation tables for different customers. So that's why focus is really good. That we make sure that we do it for the right people, but also with the right terminology, for instance.
Yeah, good point. Especially in healthcare, thinking a bit different way and mixed things, it can have lethal consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
agree.
sometimes you can overcome it with as I said, maybe a simple translation table. But if processes are really different, then y- somehow you will come at a point that you have to make a decision between uh, customer type A and customer type B. And if you try to do both within one tool, as said, then you deliver a tool that is maybe for 90% useful, but we want to deliver a tool that is for more than 100% useful.
Nice one. Yeah, you're right. Well, basically, it's about general product, and what if we will talk about actual people, or like Growtivity is one of the not many people, not many partners actually that have ISV product plus consultancy. So you can compare. Can you please tell how do you feel? Is there any difference between attracting specialists to the project and to a product?
Yeah, definitely. Um, if we are talking about customer projects at Growtivity, we need specialists with specific cloud knowledge. If we do a service cloud implementation, we need people who are knowledgeable in the service cloud area. And furthermore, specialists from a customer project, they can deliver something that's really tailor made, and they don't have to take into account that it should be useful for 10, 100, 1,000 customers. So if a customer asks something, you can easily say, yes, that's possible, and you can build it. If it's for a product, you need to be able to discuss the actual specs about it, because it can be too tailor made for one customer if it's not being useful for another customer anymore. And of course, every consultant or every developer possibly can do that the way it's required for that project or for the product, but you also need to like that. Some people really like to start with Salesforce flows and don't stop till the end of the month until they have a really complicated flow for a lot of tiny use cases. Yeah, if you like that, you probably won't like being in our product team, where it should be more generic and as easy as possible or as simple as possible, and yeah, not too tailor made.
Actually, I felt one more important topic, maybe for product. It's really good to have dedicated team that actually are working and growing this with that product and know every piece of it, right?
Yeah,
And maybe with ideas, it's good to do a lot of demos to involve different people, but their core should be the same and should breathe with that product, right?
yeah, yeah, I agree. And I can talk for the people on our product team, but I would really like the idea if it feels like it's a bit of your child that you're working on, and that you're really proud of the end result. That goes for projects as well, of course, but yeah, especially if you're on one project, which is the product, for so long, mostly a couple of years, yeah, then it's really important that you are passionate about it.
Absolutely agree with you. Yeah, that's true. Remy, and if we
Can we pause
yeah,
for 1 second, Julie? I don't
sure.
know if you see it.
All right. Let's continue. So we already spoke through a lot of different points, and um, as Redtag itself right now is a position itself as a consultant, Salesforce consultant partner. I was curious if that's not hard for you to maintain and support actual partnership with what could be looked as a competitor to others.
Mm, well, we try to maintain a relationship where we want to be either complementary to each other and focus on our own strengths. Yeah, I think competition, if there is any, it's never a bad thing because it keeps you sharp. Um, and if you don't have any competitors, yeah, it's really easy to lay back and just see what happens. So yeah, competition is good, and I think if we have a potential competitor and if it's better suited for certain prospects' needs, then we will honestly advise this prospect to go to this competitor and get a quote from them. We are in it for the long term, and we want to have a strategic partnership not only with companies that work with us, but also with our customers. We don't want to say yes to anything and say that we are able to do everything and that we're always the best organization. We really want to make impact in the care industry. So actually being beneficial for the end users of the customers organization, so the clients. And yeah, to be able to do that, you need to be interior and give an honest advice. And even if it wasn't for the care industry, we also want to be considered when in a couple of years there's a new tender for this organization. And if yeah, if word is on the street that we do a terrible job or we don't have knowledgeable people aboard, yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. So yes, if we know of a competitor who is more suited, we will always advise this competitor. And I know from experience that we have some competitors in the market who do the same thing. So in the end, it's a win-win situation.
Agree. And actually, I do remember the cases when you also was referring to Redtag that okay, it's not our case, not our expertise. So please refer to Redtag as our partners. And actually, we are really appreciate to you for this kind of stuff because from our side. We also do not consider, with all respect to a healthy competition, we never consider you as competitors because we believe that in current world it's way more better to coexist And sometimes we are better, sometimes you are better, and we need to think about customer first, of course, and
Yeah,
only then they will get back to us, and we can make this world a bit better. So
yeah,
completely agree with you.
and it's not a situation of eat or be eaten. So that makes it easy and gives us the luxury position to state these words, of course.
Agree. I'm really sure that even without any contracts or whatever, if we know that you're ready in that era, we just don't go there. That's it.
Yeah.
Remy, and I was wondering uh, about these last years. The first time when, what did you think when the war started, actually? And maybe how did the war in Ukraine actually affected cooperation with the team or general development?
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember waking up early that day, and just as I do every day, I opened a Dutch news site on my mobile phone, and yeah, the headline was, of course, Russia invaded Ukraine. So yeah, I was really terrified because of the news, but also instantly really angry. Not only because of all you guys on the team and all other Ukrainians, but also because my girlfriend was pregnant back then with our baby daughter, and I was really horrified by the idea of what kind of world she would be born into. Yeah, war is always awful, of course, but especially if Russia starts a war, it's not only on a local level. Every country in the world needs to take into account that they have nuclear weapons, things like that. So I was really angry and scared that this would change the entire world order. Now that being said, the cooperation with Redtag, yeah, it actually didn't affect it. Yeah, besides for some air alarms, especially during the beginning, that yeah, you guys were always available. You were working like it was business as usual, which was really really uncomfortable for me because yeah, you know the situation. You're not in the same situation, which you cannot imagine how it would be to have to continue working while your country's under attack. And some of you have little children as well, of course. So yeah, obviously everybody's scared, and you still have to be able to focus and concentrate on things that yeah sound really unimportant when something like that happens.
True, you're right. And I do remember our first hours. Okay, what should I do? Should I grab the luggage and go somewhere? Should I look for a shelter? Should I do a backup? Okay, what should we do? So basically, in the team, there originally we thought that it's not so much time, and we at least made all possible backups if anything happened to us or to teammates that show could go on actually. And yeah, I totally understand you.
Yeah,
For many of us it was a bit challenging, but actually we are responsible. We do understand that you have your own responsibilities in front of your clients, and you, of course, it's really different from a regular situation, but you cannot switch off and say sorry, our developers are not available, and
no,
just stop. And we were trying our best, of course, to reduce any feelings of all this and any impact on actual final clients. And to be honest, from another perspective, actually, as we do our work, we can have some financial impact on the situation, and it's also a very good point to consider. So
yeah.
we understand this as well.
Yeah, and during those first weeks, nobody had any idea how the war would develop. And now we know what the situation is, but we didn't know if all major cities would be under attack even more, or that the amount of, it wasn't even sure the amount of people that Russia had available to fight for this bad cause of them. So that next to the personal situation, it made it really hard for Growtivity, because we were in our ISO certification as well, certification process, and then you need to think about these things as a risk. So even though everything in your body screams, now we are never going to give up this relationship, you do have to write a plan. What if a bomb was dropped on Lviv and Redtag didn't exist anymore? So we needed to have a backup plan. That felt really it felt really cowardly to create such a plan, but technically it's necessary, of course. Let's just say that we are really happy that we never had to use any backup plans.
Agree. And Remy, I wanted to give a separate thanks to you and to whole Growtivity, because as far as I know, you even gave a shelter to some of our people,
Yeah,
some of our developers, as well as helped a lot financially. We are really, really appreciate
very
for all your
welcome.
help. Remy, and the next stage that came after, about all this energy situation, about all this electricity sheltering, and I understand that it was another wave of fear. Um, and how did you felt about that, and how did Redtag in general work out the situation?
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really worried about that. Of course, it was horrible that it happened, but uh, from a corporation perspective, I already learned how resilient and inventive Ukrainian people are. You afterwards you showed me some pictures of people with really large self-developed devices on the back of their car to generate electricity from a Tesla, I believe, and or maybe from a diesel car. I don't remember that exactly. But you guys were so inventive. So beside that, it was again making me really angry that things like that happened, and that civilians are so involved in a war. I also knew that this won't really affect you, because you know how to deal with it.
Thank you, Remy. Really appreciate for your trust. Thank you.
Yeah, and I did expect maybe some internet outages, but as I think of it now, we never experienced one, right? Yeah, maybe a couple of minutes, but never longer than that.
Yeah, well, a couple of minutes, even if the best condition, it happens. So
Yeah, yeah, I know.
true, true. And getting back to the main topic about all of our product and our cooperation, um, Remy, more closer to the end, I was curious to ask you about what in general do you like the most working with Redtag, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. I think I mentioned it a couple of times already, but I really like the fact that the team from Redtech that we are working with is really involved in what we do, is involved in the discussions that we have regarding the best solution from a functional perspective, but also from a technical perspective, talking about pros and cons for different ways to get to a solution. That's really something that's really important for a smaller company as Growtivity, of course. But it's also really good for the people who are on a team, because it gives you new insights, and for next discussion you already have the background of new information. So I really like that. On a more personal level, it's also really fun to work with you. I think we always have a good time during our team chats, the dailies, the sprint reviews. Unfortunately, we cannot visit each other physically right now, but it feels like everybody's really close. Hopefully, this feels for you the same as for us in the Netherlands. Yeah, so from both perspectives, it's a really good cooperation.
Yeah, fully agree with you, and I believe really it's awesome that we uh, make this. I don't know, we really grow as one team with the same culture and with the same approach to think with the client to develop the most possible option of the client and to try to foresee all possible clients' pain points. And the same goes from both sides, and Ukrainian and Netherlands. And it's very nice thing to this. And I must say that it's not only nice to work together, but also to have some other activities together. And I do remember that also it was very important when we had different team activities outside the work with all these quest rooms, quests, etc. It also was quite fascinating, and all distance really doesn't matter anymore.
No, no. But still, I'm really looking forward to the day that we can start visiting Lviv again, and maybe someday a trip from Lviv to the Netherlands as well. Of course, yeah, doing things outside of work is still fun, even though it's not technically needed. But yeah, a couple of months before the war started, we were in Lviv, of course, together with three other colleagues. Yeah, beside that Lviv is a really beautiful city. We had a lot of fun in some restaurants. Marcella and I discovered this bars where you could have this local cherry liquor. Yeah, so had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was the same for us, absolutely, Remy. And you are asking if the same feels for us. Trust me, the same. Different people were joining on different stages as a Growtivity team, and these guys, girls, always, if they had to leave it for some reason, they also always remember time on the Growtivity with warmth in their hearts. So it's
Yeah, good to hear
really,
that.
really nice. So that's absolutely for two sides, Remy.
Nice.
And the last but not least, can you imagine a day without the tech? Do you have any day without the tech?
I can imagine a day without Redtag, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen a lot. Yeah, I would say only during the weekends, but even then, especially you and I tend to work during some weekend days as well. So yeah, that's our own choice, of course. But no, in a normal work week, yeah, I think we speak to each other, yeah, every day, right?
True, absolutely true. Remy, I really, really appreciate for your all your time today, and
You're
it was really
welcome.
nice to talk to you. Thank you very much for thinking through us about all these topics and really all the possibilities, and showing us and telling us about the Growtivity product and how useful it can be. Remy, thank you very much,
You're
and
welcome.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye.